What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of July 5th through July 11th of 2021. Brian here, fixedairmoon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. As always, I am so grateful that you decided to tune in to this. Means so much to me. I hope you're doing well. There's definitely a lot going on in life in general right now. I mean, what a week last week was, and what a weekend it was. And there's a lot of reflection that I think we can take from just this 4th of July in general. I mean, one thing, I got to give a shout out to the peace dealer. He put some out on Instagram that I saw, and he's not wrong. I don't want to burst anyone's bubble. I'm happy if you enjoyed your celebration, enjoyed time with family, but we kind of did celebrate a dead country. So, check out the peace dealer on Instagram if you want to see that. But he made some really good points with the Pluto return coming up, and with very interesting, stuff going on with the election that we just had in 2020. We're celebrating freedom. That's what Independence Day was about. It's freedom in a country in 2021 where our democracy has pretty much been irrelevant and shattered, and this country's not what it will ever be ever again, and we are in this new solar return for the United States. So, if you're not in the United States, it may or may not affect you the same way, but the United States is going through its death process right now, and it's pretty clear. So, check that out if you want. Whatever your feelings are, could just be an opinion I share with him. So, throwing that out there. But this week, wow, and it's crazy too. Last week, fireworks. I saw some fireworks that, didn't go off right. Some explosions, kind of no surprise there. And then, volcanic action, earthquakes. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, hitting Uranus with Saturn in square, Mars in square. I mean, it was forcing, action in our physical Earth, which is very Taurus. So, of course, there was that oil leak in the ocean that caught on fire. Probably didn't see that one coming. So, unpredictable things are taking place in our physical world, and it's hard to navigate all these things. But as we move on to this week, we get a new moon in Cancer, and that's definitely a big deal because it's very personal in Cancer, and it's going to be at 18 degrees. So there's this personal action and initiation, especially with Cancer in general. It is cardinal water, so there's this initiation of action, of feeling. How does everything made you feel? How do you feel about last year? How do you feel about the election? Whether it's one way or another, there are feelings that are getting brought up, and they need to be taken action on in important ways. And I think there's a level of Cancer too that wants to have compassion, and it wants to put ourselves in other people's shoes a little bit, so that we can see maybe other people feel this way for this reason, and I feel this way for this reason. And especially coming out of eclipse season and really closing that out with that eclipse with the North Node, the solar eclipse in Gemini that we had 28 days ago. And as we're closing out that cycle to end, or to start this week and come into Friday where we get the new moon, there's a lot that needs to be understood and emotionally felt within our own personal lives, so that we can take action for our own security, for our own, nurturing, capabilities of self. And, there's a lot of inner child work with Cancer as well. So I think, that kind of is the polarity as well with Capricorn, right? Capricorn's no, there's these structures, and you better be responsible and handle your business and do this and do that because society said so. So there's this, opposite energy here in Cancer where it's no, I need to do the things that feel the best for me. I need to do the things that make the most sense emotionally, and I need to act upon those things. And I think that that's a great way to look at this lunar cycle that we're going into, is what are the most important things close to you? And that eclipse in Gemini, I mean, that's a here and the now, what's right in front of you, what's going on in your life, in your environment, in your community, in your home. And this is also bringing up the home, of course, with Cancer. So very interesting. And with Venus this week in Leo, it's going to oppose Saturn. It's going to trine Chiron. It's going to square Uranus just like Mars just did. And it's going to make good aspects to the nodes as well. So there's this level of, what we really want, what we want to show out and show our value in the creative expression that we can, not only take in, but how we can bring to life. It's getting tested too with burdens outside of self, burdens with society, burdens with where the world is going, where everybody's going, where the collective's going. And there's something about really, having to individuate to our own value system, how to connect with people that want to be on that same value system too. And it doesn't matter which one you're on, as long as you're doing the one that's the most authentic and the most unique to yourself. That's going to bring you the most value right now, and that's going to let you shine the brightest. And it is definitely emotional times in Cancer, and there's a strong sensitivity. So we need to be sensitive to where things are going. And even if you look at Gemini, Cancer being the second house to Gemini, and Venus having all these aspects, it's really important to have this grounded security of what we can, make happen, what we can make real in our life, and like in different ways. So I think that this is a very powerful week for taking a major step to initiate change for what you truly feel is right for you, what you feel is unique to you, what you feel is authentic, what you feel is the most creative, that lets you shine your brightest, that lets you play. There's something about Cancer wants to play. It's like both the child and the mother. And then, with Mars and Venus and Leo, like that's play too. That is like, the child almost, but like more adolescence even. So there's a lot of responsibilities we all have, but are we being responsible for the things that are closest to our heart, that are closest to what makes us feel good? Or are we just playing these games that society has put on us constantly? Or are we kind of breaking away and detaching from that? Something to consider, for sure. I'm going to jump into the charts with you guys this week. Hope you're doing well. Let's see what's going on. Start off Monday. This is, of course, when I'm dropping this video because of the weekend. It was a little unpredictable for me. I was planning on getting all this stuff done on the 4th of July, and it just didn't work out that way for me. We're going to set Sun at 13 degrees, finishing up and coming to 14 degrees to meet with the star Sirius. Now, I think it's interesting, too, that we're getting this on Monday because Sirius is a very interesting star. Of course, the dog star, the brightest star in the sky. Not only that, but Sirius is the binary star to our sun. Our sun and Sirius, they orbit and they work together in a very magical way. And I know there's like a lot of, stuff about the Sirius, like there's portals and stuff. And, sure. But on a deeper level, even with galactic astrology and with the ages and how we're crossing the galactic plane with our sun in the central galaxy and coming into the age of Aquarius, which is really, supposed to bring us into more consciousness. Sirius backs that up with where we're at right now too, because Sirius and the sun, they like orbit each other and come close and come far in this cycle. And when Sirius and the Earth, not the Earth, but the sun, our sun, are going away from each other, Sirius turns red. And it's this red shift, and it's this like lower consciousness, this kind of dark ages. And then there's Sirius and our sun come back together, which they're starting to now, and Sirius is blue. So there's this blue shift and this consciousness shift. So, it's just another thing that's going on that, we are becoming very aware and very conscious and taking big leaps as humanity, even if, things happen in life that, might look like it's going the opposite direction. It's really going as planned. We're just in a more personal time right now where like that personal work and that personal individuation and that personal getting in touch with your feelings and getting in touch with your truest self is so much more important than every other illusion you see coming out in the world. So I just want to say that. But we're also seeing the sun come off the sextile to Uranus. I mean, talk about Monday like giving you flashes of insight and like consciousness and like how you can make your reality better and have the best and the value and what's going to bring you the most security. Cancer and Taurus are all about security, both physical and emotional security, and even like emotional and physical confidence in yourself and your five senses and your body. So Monday is a very powerful day, and the moon is also going to trine over to Pluto before it comes into Gemini. Very much a two-part day as that sun comes to 14 degrees, and I think we become more aware of these insights and this electricity that is taking us further in life for our own personal values and our own individuated self between emotions and values, and how we can illuminate from that. And the moon trine Pluto is definitely like going deep into a very powerful place within what we can create, what we can build, and the structure in life that we want to have. So this is like, very powerful times, I would say, this Monday. Making things happen in your physical world that is going to take you further in life, that is the best, that matches up with who you are as a soul and what you came here to do, and getting to the bottom of that. And that moon's also going to sextile Neptune early in the morning on Monday, and it's Neptune retrograde. It's the first moon, sextile to Neptune retrograde that we've seen so far. I just think, especially with Mercury getting ready to make its final square on Tuesday to that Neptune. I mean, there is just such a not only mental understanding, but I mean, there's an emotional understanding of something bigger is pulling the strings right now. And you got to go with that flow, and you got to trust those sensitivities in your life that are showing up in your emotions, that are showing up in your personal life, that are showing up in your environment. I mean, there are just so many things showing up to show you where to go and what to do right now. But you can be too sensitive to pay attention to that because the outside world's trying to make everybody, the narrative in the media, the narrative in this and that, and what other people are doing and what you should do to be righteous and to be, a good person these days. There's plenty of things that'll trick you and take you out of, some really amazing goodness that's trying to find you in your own personal life right now and have you be more secure in your own body. So, I mean, I hope that everybody's finding that. And, Mercury getting ready to make that final square to Neptune. Neptune now retrograde. And we've had Mercury in Gemini since May 3rd. And it's finally going to leave on Sunday of this week. So, I mean, that's 9 weeks with a retrograde and a solar eclipse and a cazimi with an eclipse. I mean, and all the squares to Neptune. As much as Mercury is very linear in Gemini, and it's very much like analytical and to the point, it's also like, because of all the Neptune squares and all the, in the retrograde, it became very much, intuitive. So we had to, really use both our right brain, our left brain, higher mind, lower mind, because that was where the true medicine was. And I would say that this final square is like, you see past a lot of illusions. You understand that there are tricks being played in this world. You understand that, it just isn't what it seems outside. But you know what? If you understand what you need in the here and now, if you understand what's important to you right now that's going to bring you security and value, oh my gosh, you're going to make the best changes ever for yourself. Like literally the most exciting and, fast forward to something amazing, but it starts right here, right now, and it starts by not getting tricked. And even Mercury in Gemini is the trickster and squaring Neptune. I mean, talk about like media with Neptune in Pisces. Like, the media has been tricking everybody about everything. If it comes from the media, I'm sorry, it's a trick. Like, this is, you have the keys to your reality right now. It's not about what other people are telling you. It's about what you are getting from something much deeper. And Venus at 10 degrees is going to make really good aspects to the nodes on this Monday. So, I mean, there's some seriously feel-good energy if you're ready to go into the excitement, if you're ready to go into your truth, if you're ready to go into relationships that are based around that truth, that are lighting up your heart, that are bringing you, a sense of, creativity and able to, have a stage in life. Like, we should have a stage. We should be showing out. We should be showing out for what our truth is and bringing that to life and expressing it and, sharing our values. There's so much, to that. And, even with the trine to the south node, like, yeah, stories are changing. Truths are changing. And that's good. We're evolving. It's beautiful times. And I love how many people I run into now that are growing and evolving, and it's happening so fast. And it's extremely beautiful out there. Despite what they'll tell you. Oh, keep being scared. Keep being scared. No, I don't think people want to be scared anymore. I'm sure some do. And that's okay, because it's Cancer season and we should have compassion for people for whatever they're feeling and try and put ourselves in their shoes. I'm sure there's some reason why that soul needs to still be scared right now. Why they need to follow the authority being put upon them. There's a reason. And it's not that they're bad. It's not that, it's none of that. So like compassion is so important. As we come to Tuesday, we get that sun at 14 degrees for half the day, and then it jumps to 15 degrees. So again, like kind of back and forth, but this is where we become, I think, very receptive to our emotions. And we are in this dark moon phase as we close out this day with that moon in Gemini, which that moon coming into Gemini yesterday did square Jupiter. So I forgot to mention that in the last chart, but this is opening us up to our personal feelings and what makes sense, and those feelings that make sense, and how we can express those things. And that's how we can expand and grow. But at the same time, like, we got to be willing to grow and expand and express ourselves from a deeper place. Like that's everything. Super important to do that. And with the moon in the north node, it's not exactly comfortable on Tuesday, which is a Mars day, of course. Like, there's like an action to do things that make us feel good. There's actions to express things that make us feel good. And that moon's going to make really nice aspects to Venus and to Chiron and to Saturn. So the moon, on Tuesdays in a very it's in a good spot if you're, able to look at things very objectively and subjectively of like your own personal needs, your own personal truth, and how you're going to put that out there to people in your life to feel better, to do things that let you light up in life, to do things that are healing, to be true to your ego, like to, I say this all the time, but like we cannot just get rid of our ego. Our ego is so important. It's our control tower. Like, if we didn't have an ego, like, we wouldn't get anything done. We wouldn't be able to put out any messages. We wouldn't be able to be ourself. We would just be some drone. Which some people want to be drones. But I don't think people that watch this channel do. So, like, there's a lot of healing in the truth of who you are. And taking that responsibility to express it and to connect to it. And to be authentic. And to be, truly yourself about it. And it's through that you're going to shine the most and have the most excitement and probably the best day on Tuesday. However, we have Mercury square Neptune for the final time. So, we're either lost in the cloud, can't see straight. It's summer school. We're just going, ooh, whatever they need me to do, I'll do, whatever. Or you're like, no, that does not align with who I am. I understand what I need right now. I understand my wants. I understand how to make myself feel good. I understand how to shine. We're having Venus approach Chiron. So, and that trine's beautiful too, because again, like, the more you can find value in your ego and take center stage for certain parts of your life, the more healing and the more you'll be able to express that truth and really like let the emotions come out and, put it out there. Let it vibrate out into the universe. Let it vibrate out to the people that you want to connect to, that you want to talk to. So, Saturn in Aquarius is definitely teaching us, it's teaching us a lot about our own frequency. It's teaching us a lot about our own responsibility to be unique, to be an individual, but also to, to make great changes in society, to fix things. Aquarius wants to fix things. And Saturn's like, hey, there's two sides to it. There's the Uranus side of Aquarius, which is individuated and liberated and smart, and it's the scientist. It's going to, be like, nope, this is not going to work. And then, there's a utopia side of it too, which is scary because you got to remember Saturn is Capricorn, which is the powers that be, the structures above us, the governments. Are we just going to be a number? Or are we going to be an individual self and shining in that light? This is a big, important time. This is a revolutionary time right now to be very, very true to self and to not just become a number. Because even if we are coming into the age of Aquarius, this kind of happened with Pisces. We came into the age of Pisces, and in those dark ages in that time, Virgo, the divine feminine, even, like the virgin, right? Like that, that women's power was suppressed. We forgot about that strong feminine energy for a long time, up until recently in our history. So if we come into the age of Aquarius and everybody just forgets about their Leo and their fire and their creative, heart, and what they can do and how they can be the king of their own life and the queen of their own life, and we just give everything to the outer world, like, geez, like we're going to be in for it's going to be trouble. And I like to think that that's not going to happen because we're much more Uranian right now. With all the aspects that's hitting Uranus, like Uranus is getting like, it's trying to take so many people in the collective higher. As we're going to see, Venus is going to, also make that square over to Uranus this week. Wednesday is Mercury Day, and we're going to see Mercury, getting really close to coming out of shadow. Went to 26 degrees. It's getting ready to quincunx Pluto. Like, are we ready to transform our mind for like our own highest purpose and our own goals and our own mission? Or, just, gosh, like there's a major pull here. Like there's like it's a big deal. And the moon's going to be with Mercury and the moon's going to quincunx Pluto. Like, we all have to transform the way we think. Like, we have got to become very strong-minded. It's almost like a responsibility to be very deep within your own thought so that you can be an individual, so that you think for yourself, or you're going to be thought for you. Like, that's some truth. So, and we're going to see the moon also square with Neptune. So, with Mercury coming off that, like, I mean, we can be in a deep spell emotionally and be super confused and all over the place and anxiety levels time to 100, or we're past that now and we're ready to make, dreams come into our reality and bring them into the here and now and bring the visions. And there's a lot of creative energy in the chart right now, but you have to be creating, your life. You have to be doing it. Like, Gemini wants to do it. Wants to right here, right now, and I'm going to switch it up because new information came in to do this better, to feel better. And it's a dark moon phase, and we're closing out the eclipse, and it's like, okay, this is like, let's get down to business for anything that doesn't make sense any longer, that doesn't, fit the environment that I want to live. And that's how you liberate right now. It's like being really, really present with yourself, really present with your feelings. And that sun's going to come from 15 into 16 degrees. It becomes a very spiritual day as we close out Wednesday, especially with the Neptune and the moon. I mean, there is like amazing things the universe is trying to show us that we can change and create in our life by shifting our mind, by shifting our feelings to what is present, what makes the most sense, and what's nurturing us as we come into this Cancer moon and this Cancer, new moon. And that's, important. And we're going to get the Venus Chiron trine as well. So, I mean, when you really get down to relationships that are, vibing and letting you shine and you're letting them shine, like, that's amazing. That's where there's some serious growth and healing. But even when it just comes to the relationship to yourself, are you giving yourself a platform to be in your truth, to be in your, soul ego, your mission, and to not just give up your rights, to not just give up your freedom. Like, I think everybody in the world right now needs to like step up on their stage and their platform for freedom. Like, Chiron in Aries, there's a wound around freedom right now. Like, some people don't want it. And the greatest thing that we can have right now is to free ourselves. And this Cancer new moon honestly is a big one after everything that's happened about freeing ourselves from control and getting back to ourselves, getting back to what makes us feel ourself, what makes us feel at home, nurtured, secure in our own bodies, in our own life. Security outside of self is a silly thing right now. And that's, there's a lot of healing in your ego right now. So if you're feeling creative and you want to express yourself and you need to put that truth out there, that's your ego getting that out there. And that is so important right now. So do not shy away from anything that needs to come out. Like, this is a time to let it out. It could be any emotion. It could be anything. If it needs to come out, don't suppress yourself. Don't, that's Capricorn. Capricorn wants to suppress, and Pluto's there coming up for that Pluto return. And it's the opposite of Cancer, where we're having this new moon. Like, we cannot express ourselves, or we'll just suppress ourselves any longer, or we're literally going to explode. And there's going to be more, dare I say, explosions, but there's explosive energy. And hopefully, it's not you just exploding from within because you're not doing the things in life right now that make you feel ultimately secure with yourself. And being able to have a sense of compassion for others. But more importantly, be compassionate and loving for yourself. That is where, the heart is. I mean, this is some major heart chakra, solar plexus chakra energy this week. And it connects back to the root chakra. Because you have to be rooted to really feel and to really go into what makes you feel the best, and to, not hold yourself down, not suppress your feelings because of the world, because of things outside of you. And this dark moon phase is closing out a lot of things that aren't true. It's also closing out a lot of understanding of the truth. And from here on out, it's about initiating that action and going towards what your gut's been guiding you towards. Super important. Thursday, I'm going to move this real quick. So Thursday we get that moon coming into Cancer, very dark moon. And again, kind of just two-part energies all week, with the sun changing degree midday. It starts to get a little better towards the end of the week, where it's more, stable in one energy, but it's very flip-floppy. And of course, we start out the day in Gemini with the moon, excited, emotions can be all over the place, changes, met with Neptune, quincunxed Pluto, and here we are in Cancer. So definitely sensitive, dark moon, because this is where whatever emotions we've been suppressing, or whatever parts of our truth we've been hiding, we're going to have to confront those things. We're going to have to look at them, deal with them, feel them. And, I think it starts out with 16 degrees of the sun, like very spiritual. You're getting all these signs. It's very creative. It's very divine. And then 17 comes around, and that is Saturn, and that is Capricorn. And it's dead serious about the things that you're feeling, about the direction you want to go, what you're initiating. Are you doing it from your emotional and mental and spiritual truth, or are you just under a spell and doing something outside of you told you need to do? And I think Thursday is going to be a hard day, especially emotionally, because it's going to bring up super sensitive issues that we're trying to close out in our life so that we can move in a better and more, I want to say pure, like a more emotionally pure place. But Cancer's a good reminder that, emotions come up and we got to deal with them, and we're not going to have a choice. And Mercury's going to come to 26 degrees and leave its shadow period. So we did the, actually it would start this way, right? And then out of the shadow. So we've seen, we've reflected, we've dealt with. Time to move forward, time to express, time to let your truth shine. This is it. It's go time. And of course, we had Venus opposed Saturn to start off the week. That was heavy. Saturn came to 11 degrees. That's a big shift too, because this is very self-aware. So we're very self-aware of our emotions. And that's where we want to be focusing our responsibilities on, is our emotions, and not being attached to the things outside of ourselves that are not important any longer. And that Venus opposition to Saturn is a rough one too, because you know that's dealing with our values, that's dealing with the things that we want to hold on to. It's dealing with our self-worth. And our self-worth has to be, connected to our individuality. It has to be connected to making things better in our own life and innovating in our personal life. We're in very personal times. Like, there's only outer planets in these outer signs. Like, there's some subconscious stuff going on in the outer world that we're all dealing with. But when it comes to our personal stuff right now, I mean, it is as personal and subjective as it gets. So there's definitely like a responsibility to be taking care and nurturing and treating ourselves right and building our confidence and building our stage and our shine and our creative abilities. But there's this tug of war between Saturn there and the people in Aquarius and society, where we do have to put ourselves in other people's shoes and we have to see other people's individuality, and it can't just be all about self. So we have to be compassionate, kind of like what I mentioned before. And we get the square to Uranus on Thursday. So there's just major shifts when it comes to relationships, when it comes to money, super unpredictable, but also trying to take you to what is of the greatest value. And especially when you get Taurus and Leo in square, I mean, this is like, if your heart isn't in it, do you really value it? If your heart isn't, just singing with joy and happiness, why are you building it if it's not? But if it is, and it's taking you higher, and it's exciting and accelerated, I mean, there's magic there too. So, I mean, how do you work with Uranus and Venus in square, and be open to change when it comes to relationships that are better? Not just, completely attaching yourself to another person. Making sure that you're attaching yourself to the highest form of value in your life. And there's a level of like really having to show out for yourself right now. Like, comfort is very subjective. You have to do things that make your heart happy, and that's it. That's that. If it isn't the best of the best, it's not taking you higher right now. So, do things that make you happy. And the moon's going to trine Jupiter. And, I think that's beautiful when it comes to, expanding on our emotions and really feeling these things. And really, like, having that level of compassion as well. Love yourself. Give yourself unconditional self-love this week. That would be one of the best things you could do. If you give yourself unconditional love and you do what you know is going to make you feel better in life, even if it seems like this crazy, unpredictable thing, whether it's dealing with a job or work or a relationship or just something you have to do in house or family, like, you got to look out for yourself. It's super important. Friday, new moon in Cancer, 18 degrees. This is definitely an action-oriented new moon. Like, you're initiating big things based on your feelings, based on how you take care of yourself, how you nurture yourself. This is in big contrast with Capricorn and Pluto. Like, what are we really being responsible for? What are we really initiating? Like, are we being responsible for what makes us feel ourself and what lets that inner child out? I think we got to make, it's important to come back to self. Cancer's such a personal sign. Cancer and Leo are the most personal signs. The sun and the moon. Like, this is such an important time to take action for what you need in life and to not hold back and to let go of old stories that don't feel good anymore. Emotions can change. New information came in Gemini. How's that make you feel? You gotta shift accordingly and act on these emotions. So, especially with the sun at 18, moon at 18, that's a 9. Like, this is a, major like action, go initiate change based on, you know, your truth of how you feel, and don't hold back and don't shy away from it. And Venus just came off the square to Uranus. It's like there are big changes that need to be made in our physical life. There are big changes that need to be made with money and relationships to have better, to go further. Make them happen. It's only going to make you feel better. It might not look like it in the beginning, I'll be honest. Like, it might be like, wow, this is a really hard decision. But you know, in your emotional depths and your truth, like, we're digging into the well of how we truly feel. It's our subconscious too, Cancer. It's our unconscious. So there are unconscious things triggering our feelings and emotions, and it's up to us to get to the bottom of those. It's up to you as an individual to get to the bottom of those things and to act accordingly in your immediate reality, in your home, your environment. What's up? So it's just more of that, like, if you want to feel better, you have to do these things to make yourself feel better. And it's not about putting the blame on things outside of you. It's not about being a martyr. It's really about, like, taking responsibility for your feelings, taking responsibility for what you want to have, what you need to feel better. Like, your needs, your emotional needs and wants are so important during this next cycle of the moon here. You gotta initiate and do the things that bring you that. And Venus and Mars are getting very close, right? And they will conjunct next week. But, you know, that's more, especially in Leo here, and they're finally done with Saturn. They're finally both done with Uranus. So they have this, like, they can breathe, and they want to have fun in Leo, and they want to shine, and they want to show out, and they want to be creative. And Mars wants to just act on fun, exciting impulses and just do things that are, you know, grandiose and take risks. So there's a great level of risk that should be taken in our lives too, to let our true creative energies, you know, that true creative fire burn very bright, very hot within our own individual self. And Venus is there, like, being very receptive to that, and they want to, you know, come together. And it's like, you got to burn bright. You got to initiate these things for what's going to bring you, you know, the 5 physical senses that make you feel the best. And it comes back to Cancer with this new moon, and, like, it comes back to the feelings and the creative just passion and joy that certain things can bring, or certain things are not bringing in your life. And that's where you have to make big moves and trust your instincts to have great things come in. And if you're going to shy away and you're not going to take a risk, or you're going to shy and not take the stage in life to present what you need to present, or to express what you need to express, then you're not doing yourself any favors either. In my opinion, of course. Saturday, we're going to have that moon finish up in Cancer. It's going to oppose Pluto. Definitely, like, whoa. Like, I need to make some pretty big changes in my life to have the emotional security that I'm looking for. Or if I'm going to take responsibility for my emotions, like, wow, I really need to make big changes to where I thought the legacy was going, or where I thought the government was going, or, like, you know, this is a big one. This opposition after the new moon, right with Pluto, and then the sun approaching the opposition to Pluto. This is, yeah, these are going to be felt, these oppositions. And it's forcing evolution. It's forcing us to realize that we graduated from something, and it's time to move on to the next tier of our own emotions, of our own security. And I think we're graduating from the tier that the government is going to give us security, or going to give us what we need in life. Like, yeah, it's on us as individuals, and you as a person and a human here. So, very interesting. And, you know, moon's going to trine over to Neptune as well. So I think that, there's very, subconscious energy. There's very intuitive energy that's definitely like helping, like it, but it's sensitive. We can't like get too lost in our sensitivities. Like there's this action, there's this Mars quality to this new moon. There's this Mars Venus. Like we have to be strong. We can't just get like overly sensitive or not want to let go of things because we're in some like deep sense of nostalgia of what once was. Like we have to kind of create new memories, new nostalgia, new positive events. And like Saturday could be a day where you have to get like really really in touch with your feelings, but not let them, disconnect you from what's important or what needs to be let go of. So definitely interesting weekend. And then, we do see Mercury here. Mercury this week is going to be in semi-square to Venus and Mars, and it's also going to be in semi-square to Uranus. So Mercury, out of shadow, finishing up in Gemini, been there for 9 weeks, and it's in these weird semi-squares, and it's like very interesting times about like really paying attention to your environment and what's going to take you farther and the insight that's coming through, and definitely doing things differently from a mental standpoint to like back up the emotional changes that you're going through. And then it's in a weird place with Venus and relationships and money. It's almost like there's so much clarity now of what's going to bring you more security in life and what's going to bring you better, but you have to let go of something, and it's like not easy or not fun, or it's something that's been dead set, or what you thought was dead set in your life, and it's like nothing is dead set in life anymore. Like we are in a great time of change, like especially if you live in the United States, but I would say for everybody as well. But that solar return before the Pluto return for the United States has a T-square with Mars to Uranus, Mars opposing Saturn. I mean, we're having our egos be suppressed. We're having our identities be suppressed. And the only way out is to liberate. The only way out is to, do things differently. Because the old way isn't going to do it anymore. And I would say Saturday is like a day where, I think it's felt. And we can be sensitive to it, and maybe overly sensitive to the point where we're not doing ourselves any favors. And Uranus does come to 14 degrees this week, which is a big shift mentally. Like our collective consciousness just kind of like turned to a whole new gear we've never seen. A whole new frequency of, we haven't seen since the 30s. So some people may have seen this, but, I definitely haven't. I don't know, you have to be in your 90s, or you have to be 88 years old, right? 88 is Uranus around the sun. So, yeah, the mind is evolving, our consciousness is evolving, and it's a beautiful thing, and we have to use that to our benefit so that we can be hyper aware of our identity. Because if we can do that, we can build amazing and innovative things for the future. But if we're just going to let ourselves go and be a number and fall for the tricks and the spells, you guys know that though. Sunday, sun at 19, is definitely a heavy manifesting day, as it spends majority of the day at that 19th degree. So like, what do you want to bring to creation? You got to take action for it, and you got to manifest it. And if you can manifest it, that means that you're in it emotionally, that you have security there. And Mercury finally, after 9 weeks, comes into Cancer, which, I mean, it's not my favorite place for Mercury to transit, but it's good because we need to understand on a very like objective and subjective level what's going on with emotions, what's going on with other people. It's going to help us find compassion. It's going to help us get to the bottom of things. And we've been so heady for a while, like we have to get into our feelings right now. That's going to help us bring a lot to light. It's It's going to help us do a lot of deep understanding and deeper work. And it's bringing this sense of initiation to it. It's action with cardinal water. Because our feelings, we're going to be able to express those better. And that's important right now. Because I think there's a lot of people that are feeling a lot of different ways in life right now. But we're at this point now where things just aren't going to be held back. And it's part of the revolution. Like, I think that we're going to see a revolution. We're in those times. And I think that that's good because we need it. And it starts with the individual. And even just in your own personal life, in your home life. It doesn't mean like everybody has to go out right now. Although I hope people take advantage of their platform, especially with the moon and Venus and Mars in Leo. Like, go get on your stage and tell people how you feel. If you are not happy, you tell them. You own it. So that's good. And Mars and Venus are going to meet up at 19 degrees. The moon's going to be there on Monday. So what a, Leo stellium that is. And I think that that's really going to help people's self-expression. And that's really going to help people express from their heart. So people are going to be, in their heart, in their truth. There's no filter. There's no mask in Leo. It's authentic. It's going to shine the light. It's the truth. It's the illumination. And, Sunday's a beautiful day. And even coming into Saturday evening into Sunday, it's like there's a beautiful illumination if you're being true with how you're feeling. And if you need to take a big risk for something, take that risk. And that moon's going to square Uranus. It's going to oppose Saturn. And the moon's going through a lot of the stuff that Mars and Venus just went through. So again, kind of comes back into our personal life of like finding that inner rebel, inner liberator, and liberating, taking a stage in life to be true to ourselves. This is one of the most important times ever to be true, so true and so authentic to self that nothing can stop you. Because nothing can stop you if you're in your authenticity. They can try, but you'll still be authentic and you'll still be you. And that can never be taken. Queen of Cups reversed for the week. This is an amazing week and an amazing opportunity to not shy away from our emotions, to learn how to let go of emotions that are not serving us anymore, and to find our throne within ourselves, to not look outside, to look within. The more you look within this week, the better. And if you don't, and you just keep going in a direction that you don't feel good about, that doesn't bring you a sense of worth and happiness and love and compassion and rootedness in your being, it's going to be very difficult. Why did we get that card? The Three of Swords reversed. We're going to move out of, terrible sort of heartbreak situations that we put ourselves in mentally by going into our emotions. And the only reason you would stay in heartbreak is if you don't deal with your feelings and you don't deal with your emotions. So this is a great time to feel and act on those feelings to your highest ability and to take the stage to do it for the best that you can have. There's a lot of squares to Uranus and Taurus from Leo. It's the best of the best. It's the castle, it's the queen, it's the king, and you have to find that kingdom within you. This is about rooting in that and feeling why you might not feel that way and dealing with it on a conscious and subconscious level. Or if you feel that way, this is about making it happen. So I hope you do. I appreciate and love you all so much. I hope you enjoyed this. A little quicker than usual, I think, but it happens. Definitely want to give a shout out to David Palmer, the Leo King. Appreciate his work and knowledge and what he's taught me. I want to give a shout out to Robert Phoenix, to Christopher Witecki, amazing astrologers. And I want to give a shout out to Kepacha. I've just recently kind of tuned into his work and stoked on it. I'm going to take another advanced class that he's putting on with him because I really vibe with his whole Everything about that guy. What a beautiful soul. So shout out to Kepacha at New Paradigm Astrology. Definitely check him out. Amazing evolutionary astrologer. Been doing it a very long time. So much love to him. So that's my thank yous. Of course, thank you to you guys, the viewer, for watching. And please do hit the like button if you would be so kind. It would help maybe some other people find this content that might be ready to find this content. And, maybe there's some medicine in there for them. That would be my greatest wish. I love you all with all my heart. Have a blessed week, and I'll see you next time. Peace.